At the How to Train Your Dragon franchise, you have the TV show DreamWorks Dragons. There's several different seasons. You have DreamWorks Dragons Riders of Berk, that's season 1, and then Defenders of Berk, season 2, and then DreamWorks Dragons Race to the Edge, the next 6 seasons. So you have 8 there in total. Those seasons clearly connect to the movies because you have the same characters, same setting. Then you have DreamWorks Dragons The Nine Realms, which is set 1,000 years after the events of the How to Train Your Dragon movies. Once again, there's clearly a connection there. But then you have one other show in there called Rescue Riders, which very much feels like the odd one out. I did a video talking about the Kung Fu Panda franchise, how Kung Fu Panda Dragon Knight feels so disconnected from the rest of the franchise that in my head it's not actually canon. Like, on paper, it's part of the Kung Fu Panda franchise, but so disconnected. I'm like, yeah, this is in its own continuity. That's how I feel about Rescue Riders. Even more so, actually, than Kung Fu Panda. In this case, it's none of the same characters. I don't think, anyway, that we see Burke in the show, if I remember right. I'm not 100% sure off the top of my head, but we don't see Hiccup, Astrid, Snot Loud, Rough Nut, Tough Nut, Stoic, Gobber, any of them. So as far as I'm aware, the only kind of connection to the rest of the franchise at all is, just the fact that there are dragons in the show. But if that's the only thing connecting Rescue Riders to How to Train Your Dragon, then I'm like, I don't consider this show canon. I don't think that's really part of the How to Train Your Dragon franchise. As far as I'm concerned, this show is just doing its own thing. It is so disconnected from the rest of How to Train Your Dragon that I don't think that it's taking place in the same continuity, timeline, universe as the rest of How to Train Your Dragon. Let's see here. Googling this show right now, actually. DreamWorks Dragons Rescue Riders. Okay, so it still is the DreamWorks Dragons subtitle there. Let's see. Okay, yeah, this is confirming what I thought. So it's a completely different town, none of the same characters. The animation style is completely different. So the only kind of connection to How to Train Your Dragon whatsoever is just the fact that there are dragons in it. As far as I'm concerned, that doesn't make this show canon. Also, here's the other thing. In this show, there's this idea that you have people who were raised by dragons that have a unique ability to directly communicate with them, which I will admit sounds interesting, but feels weird inside of How to Train Your Dragon, because we don't see anything like that in the rest of the franchise. I mean, you have Valka, who lived with dragons for a long time, but she wasn't raised by them. She just lived amongst dragons for about 20 years. So in conclusion, especially after looking this up, yeah, I don't personally consider Rescue Riders to be canon.